Hi, welcome back to the channel. Now, the other day I put out a video about suspension and my thoughts on it and a subscriber's problem he got. So I did say I'm going to strip mine. The actual setup in this is pretty good, it's pretty close. I did show you in the previous video about the sag and all that, and this was nearly bang on. But my problem being ruts, potholes, waves in the tarmac. This has got about 4 inches of travel, 110 mil I believe. It's not really enough, even though this is working well. We've got potholes and dips in the road bigger than 4.5, 5 inches. It's really Himalayan country here, but there you go. But what I'm going to do is strip it. I'm going to have a look what springs it's got in it. The strength of the spring is fine. The forks are moving up and down too fast, so I'm going to see what we can do with that. Be changing the oil. I've got some preload adjusters coming for the top here, but they're not here yet. But it doesn't matter, I've only got to undo the caps to fit those in after. So we'll get it stripped and let's have a look what's inside these forks. Right, first off, let's have a look. There. Tools. Yeah. Obligatory cup of tea. Can't work without a cup of tea. Ratchet, 24mm socket. That's for the nut on the other side of the wheel. 16mm spanner, that holds the spindle. That fits the flats, it's 16mm, it's a bit of an odd size. Ratchet with a 6mm Allen key on it. That'll fit the pinch bolt in the back of here, down here. It will also fit the pinch bolts in the yoke here and in the top up here. 5mm Allen key there. What that's for is the pinch bolt behind the headlight brackets. You have to undo that because it's like a clamp, split clamp. 13mm socket. That's to take the caliper bolts off because we've got to remove the calipers. 10mm socket. That's to undo this 10mm bolt here that holds this clamp on with the speedo cable on it. Yeah. 5mm Allen key again, that'll undo the ABS sensor. 22mm spanner, that's to undo the caps on the top of here. So I will do your list and put the list on the screen so you can see what tools you need. Also a pen, a felt tip pen. I'll do this job now. What I do with this, these clamps, these are actually fixed to the fork leg as you can see, and they can be anywhere. So they're set right now, so I'm just going to put a mark underneath. Like so. All that does is when we put the fork legs back in, we know where that wants to be. Now, there's one thing, let me just tip the camera back a bit. There's one thing you're going to notice. My fork legs are nearly, well they are flush with this side of the yoke. There. Mine are down. Now when they come from the factory, these are stuck through about 50mm or so. I push mine down. Now the reason being, stand that back up. I don't know why the factory's done it like this. When they're stuck through the top like this up here, that's going to speed up the steering because it alters the trail of the forks well, what it's doing, the wheel and forks will be stood where they are, but the bike itself will be coming down like this, and it alters the steering angle. Now these can be a bit skittery, light barred. They do have a problem with the tyres on these Pirelli Phantoms. Lots of reports, if you let go of the bars, you get into a bit of a speed wobble with it. And this one, even if you've got one hand on really lightly, it's got a bit of a wobble on it. I've got a brand new tyre, Dunlop Aramax, which I've just fitted a new one on the rear. And this tyre is pretty good still, but I'm going to fit a brand new one on here. I'm going to take this off. Just not worth you messing about with your life, is it, eh? But I push mine down, so it's actually kicking it out, which gives it more stability in a straight line. In theory, it won't steer as fast, but this is mega light steering. You can one-handed just flick it about like that. But just dropping it through is going to keep this more stable. It should be able to let go of the bars and it just goes straight. So that's why I've done mine. It's just because somebody's bound to notice it. Right. Oh, you also need, I've got a jack here. This will jack a bike up and whatnot. I leave the bike on the centre stand, put this underneath here with a piece of wood on the frame, and you have to jack it up so the front wheel will be off the ground. We'll do that first. Let's just wind. That's a cup of tea's becoming a liability. There we go. I actually only just want. There. You see, just barely off the floor. That's all you need. But it keeps me then. I can take the wheels out and the bike's supported. Right. Let's have a look. First job, going to crack these off while they're still in the clamps, both sides of the caps. It just makes it easier. It means you haven't got to try and hold the fork legs to get these undone. A little tip, stick a piece of kitchen roll over them. You only need to crack them off. There we are. I'll do the one off camera. So that's the first job you do. Undo the two top caps. Right. Right, well, first thing I'm going to do is take this mudguard stay off. I know I've been complaining just lately about it, but it's still mega hot. I was going to maybe do this job. I was in here at 4 this morning working on the other bike, or one of the other bikes. The trouble is, it puts you out of sync, doesn't it? 4 o'clock in the morning, I want to go to bed about 8. But it's so hot. It's cooled down a bit today, it's only just about 40. We did have it at 47 one day last week. As you can hear, my voice is a bit hoarse because it's so dry. But I've got quite a lot of work to do on this bike. And if I can get it all done, I'm going to be taking it to Romania in the next couple of weeks. If I don't get it done, I shall be taking the Bullet. I don't really mind which, but when you've just got a new bike, that's what you want to be riding, isn't it? Right, take them 4 bolts out, lift that up, turn it. That's your front mud guard. Do that, get it out of the way. Bolts with it. job. I'm going to take the wheel off. First off, 24mm. Let's crack this off. Right, undo the pinch bolt on this side of the fork leg. Right, you don't need to take it out, just slack it off. Then that should be nice and loose now. What we're going to do next is, let's have a look. I need to get this out of here. Right, that's your ABS wire. That's right, still see. Undo this. Now there should be a shim behind this, if somebody's not already had it off. Yeah, it's there, look. Can you see that? Little shim fits in the back of this, so don't lose it. Just put that there out of the way. I'll sit that over here so I know where it is. Now we want 13mm. These two bolts here, the brake caliper bolts. Get them undone. Stand them up there out the way. Caliper. That should just slide off the back of there. Now, just hang a bungee cord around the crash bar. Round here. Round here. That's just going to keep the. See that? Yeah, it's just going to keep the caliper out of the way, so the weight's pulling back on there, it's not hanging on the brake cable. Brake hose rather. Right. Now we should be ready to set the wheel out. Have to excuse the camera work today. My assistant is busy doing whatever it is she does. Pull the spindle out. Take the speedo drive off. Put the spacer nut over here out of the way. Slide your wheel out. Just check your bearings while you've got it. At this point, yeah, lovely, beautiful. Now, here's a thing of interest for you. These are Byberry brakes, supposedly, which is a subsidiary of Brembo. Yeah, on the disc, whoa, well, you're going to have to believe me. Just where my finger is, just there, that's the Brembo sign. Brembo disc. That there is bird shit. Right, stand that there out the road. While you're at this stage, before you undo any of your bolts here, there's a good chance just to get hold of your forks. Give them a twist. Get hold of the forks. First go backwards and forwards, like that. Well, you shouldn't be able to go like that, that's what you're after, no movement. Secondly, give them a twist. backwards and forwards, nice and smooth, lovely. That's a good sign. Our headstock bearings are in good fettle, so we should be okay on them. Now I need to take this 10mm off this side where I showed you is for the clamp that holds this cable on. Just take it off. Whew, it's easier than trying to force this out of the clip. It will come out of the clip, but you could kink this cable. That's not so clever. I'll just screw that bolt back in. Speedo drive, just hook it round the exhaust, out of the way. That's it. Now, what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to take, I'll take one out, and we'll take that to the bench and strip it. The idea is, while I've got one in, I've got this is still clamped to this fork leg and bolted to the headlight, so it should hopefully hold this piece, all the headlight and everything, still in situ. So if I slide one leg out, this is still clamped to this, headlight's still bolted to the bracket, bolted to this bracket. In theory, this leg should slide out and the headlight should stop where it is. There's one other thing I should have done. It's always best when you're working on the bike, anything to do with this area, get a blanket, cover it up. There. You only need a slight slip of a spanner, drop a bolt, and you can chip your tank. I should have put that on first job actually. Right, let's have a look what we've got here. Okay, now you should see that. We're going to undo this pinch bolt up here and these two pinch bolts here. So I'll undo these two first. You don't need to take them out, just crack them off so they're slack. Now the same up here. That's that one slack. Now in theory I've already slacked this off there, that's slacked off, this is slacked off. And hopefully this is going to slide out and leave this in situ. There you go, look. Perfect. So that's the bottom yoke, headlight bracket still where it should be. Top yoke. That's going to make life a lot easier for us when we go to put it back in. Right, where's the fork leg? We'll get it over to the bench. I'm going to take the top off, under the cap, and we're going to drain the oil out. Right. Okay, alright, we're going to take this cap off. Just keep a bit of pressure on it. There shouldn't be too much pressure on this. There we go. There's your bung. Got the sealing O-ring on it. There's the top top shim, all that does is sits on top of the spacer. So that's the spacer. Put that in the thing out of the way. Now the spring's still inside. Now what I'm going to try and do is get all the oil out. Good God. I want to see how much oil's in it. It should be 430 millilitres. Like it's charcoal colour, this oil. Now on top of the spring there's another washer, so put that there because we don't want to lose that. Now the way to get your oil out is actually pump this up and down now. Let's have a bit of patience. I think we're down to the last drips. Now this I'm going to take out the back. I'm going to flush this out. If there's any crap sitting in the bottom where the valve is, it'll clean it out. So when I've got to put the fresh oil in, it's fresh oil that I've got, nothing else. Right, so look. Yeah. Quite surprised. 430. Exactly what it should be. Now, I don't know whether... Let me see if I get the camera. You look at the colour of that. "5,000 kilometres. It's like charcoal. Obviously you can tell from my tone that isn't the colour it should be. Right. Let's just wipe the spring off. Now, let's have a look. Obviously this is a stock Interceptor spring. Now one of my ideas I've got, these, well I can see now it's not going to work I don't think. These are Triumph 900 Scrambler 2021 I think, model, the new model it was. These are Tech ones. And I took these out. No, I didn't take these out. I actually bought these to put in the forks, and what I did, I changed the forks completely in the end, and never ever used them. They're slightly taller. If you notice, these coils are quite close together. One of the reasons why this is bottoming out, that small gap you've got in here soon comes coil bound. Where if you look at the Triumph one, the coils are a lot further apart. So this is going to give you suspension a lot more travel. The foot, yes, it will. It'll travel further before it bottoms out. This isn't travelling very far. This is one of the problems here. There's not much difference as 0.2. Right. I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to have a think whether I should try the Triumph Scrambler springs or I should just go back with the Interceptor ones. They're both progressive. If you look at the bottom, the coils here are quite close together. coils here are quite close together. This just opens up more. I think the Triumph one, because the Scrambler forks was longer, slightly. That's going to give me a more plusher suspension, where this is quite hard and quite stiff. It is quite stiff, but it does bottom out. Anyway, I'm going to turn the camera off for 10 minutes while I have a think, have another cup of tea, and I'll let you know what I decide when I turn it back on. Right, I'm going to put the oil in. What I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go with the Triumph springs. They're about 20mm longer. The coils are wider, so you're going to get better movement. They're virtually the same thickness, there's hardly any difference at all. They're both progressive, so we'll see how we get on. Thing is, if I try it and I don't like it, I can change the springs with the forks in situ. So a bit of an interesting experiment. Right, I need 430 millilitres of oil. I'm using 10 weight. I've already put 100 in. This is what I use. iPhone. It's a synthetic oil, very good quality. So this will be 200 millilitres. $300. $400. And 30 we need. There we go. Now, let's move that a bit so you can see me. Right, this is a very accurate measurement. The forks, I flushed them out with cleaning fluid, so there was nothing at all in them, spotless. So for me, this way is good and accurate, because I know it's spotlessly clean inside, there was no fluids, nothing left. Another way of doing it is to measure from the top down to the fluid and get an air gap reading, and then you can make sure both are the same, but this is good enough. Right, pump these up and down. What that is going to do is purge the air out the bottom. Do it about a dozen or so times. I think that'll have got all the air out. Right. Okay, so we've got our oil in, we've purged the air out of it. First off, we're going to put the spring in. The tight coil bit to the top. Put our tube in. That's it. Put our washer in, nearly forgot, eh? Make sure it's sitting on the spring. Put the tube in. I've not cut the tube down. The difference between the springs is 10 mil. The Triumph springs are 10 mil longer, which is nothing. And I can press that down with my hand, easy to get the same level as originals. Right, need that on top of here. Right, put that on the floor. Now I've got to get the cap back on. Which we have. Pull this down. I'll just twitch that nut up when I've got the forks in. You don't need to torque this down, because basically it's all this is doing is screwing in and holding the O-ring in place. It's the O-ring that's the seal, not the threaded part. So this doesn't need to be much more than hand tight. Back in there. Now the Triumph is 220 kilogram. This is about 210 wet, so it's about 10 kilogram difference. So that feels right. Let's have a look. Okay, the last of the oil into the fork leg. I already dropped the leg out, took the spring out and all the guts, washed it all out. We're going to go with the Triumph springs. Small end up. A wider coil. These are quite narrow. That's it. They're softer spring than ones with a bigger coil. So we'll see how we get on. Pop the spacer back in. Pump it down a bit. Fit the tube back in. The steel shim and the cap. Right, wind the cap on. Just twitch that up when we got it fixed back in the clamp. Okay. Right. Let's slide this back in. Right, that's got both fork legs back in. We just nipped up straight through the brackets. That was no trouble because how we did it. The top one's nipped up, only nipped up, not tight. Right, I think the next job is we'll get the wheel back in. Right. Our spacer fits in there. Speedo drive. Spindle's lightly greased, it's clean, lightly greased, so it doesn't stick in the near future. Alright, spindle should knock in with your hands on through, means the forks are pretty trued up. Some stone chips there. Washer, the nut, not going to tighten it because we're going to have to set this with a torque wrench. Hold the spindle with the 16mm spanner. And just pull her up. That'll be enough. Right, I'll get the torque wrench out. Okay, the 24mm nut on the wheel spindle, we're going to torque that up to 70 Newton meters. So look. There we go, 70. There we go. Now the pinch bolt this side, I can just twitch that up. It doesn't want to be over tight. And just to help clamp the fork leg to the spindle. That's it. Now, I've not done that with a torque wrench setting, just use your common sense. Got this 10mm bolt this side on the speedo drive. Again, common sense, there is a torque setting for it, but just do that lightly. You don't need to go mad on these things. Brake caliper. Good time to check your brake pads. Yeah, they're still good. Should slide back on the disc without too much hassle. Right. This is what I use. Spray on copper grease. Just a little bit. Got to make sure next time I want to take this caliper off, the bolts are going to come out. That's it, only needs a bit. Now, the workshop manual says 40 Newton meters. But I think caliper bolts 25 is going to be plenty. That's what I normally set them at. 25. I'm just going to strip them. Okay. Need a shim. Make sure your shim's set in place. Not too tight. Clip that back in your bracket. Right. That spins nice. Everything looks true. Make sure you can see a gap between your ABS sensor and the on the disc. Yeah, brakes is okay. Yep, all good. So we've torqued this up, we've torqued them up. I've torqued them to 25 Newton meters. It does say 40 in the manual, but I've always done brake caliper bolts at 25. If you wish to do it to 40, that's up to you. But I have seen people tightening them to 40 with a torque wrench, and they've stripped the threads inside the caliper mount, and then you're in a lot of hurt, I'll tell you. Not so bad on the new bike. As the bike gets older and it's been in and out a few times, it's easy to strip the threads. Right, mudguard I think. Drop it into an angle like that and turn it as we go past it with the fork. That's it. Same old thing. Something I've done for years, and on my own bikes then you don't get stripped threads when you're trying to take them out, or the seizing and it won't come out. Surprising. I've had bolts in before where I put them in and it's only been like a couple of months, and you come to get them out and you think, what the hell's happened here? It just will not move. These are 12 Newton meters, but well, got a torque wrench, I better use the centre. Let's have a look. We do them in a crisscross pattern. There we go. Always back your torque wrench off when you're done. Right, wheel spindles on, torqued up, caliper bolts are in, copper greased, torqued up, ABS sensors back in. You just twitch that because this is it's metal but it's plastic covered, so don't go mad on it. They're torqued up to 12 Newton meters. I've torqued up the lower spindle. I've just done that a bit more than hand tight, because if you over tighten it you can break the part of the leg off. Right, we've got these to do. Now these, I do these by hand as well, not by a torque setting. What we need to do first is check it looks straight. I've had the forks out. I think that looks good. Top yoke bolts just, oops, that's it, just twitched up, don't go, just do them a little bit at a time. tight. That's enough. Same this side. You can actually see down where the split is, it should be even. You'll see if you've over tightened the top of the bottom. That's it. That's enough. It's so easy to over tighten these and crack it down here. Same here, crack this down here. Right, let's take her off a stand, see what she feels like. Oh, it's a hard job today for this is 40 odd degrees again. Killer. Right. That feels nice and smooth without me pressing on the forks. The forks are moving up and down. It definitely feels a bit stiffer, but yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see that. Yes, feels very nice. Right, next thing to do is give it a road test, but that's going to be tomorrow now, I think. I'm absolutely done in with the heat. So I'll have to clean my tools up and we'll give it a road test and we'll film it while I'm road testing it and we'll see what it seems like. Okay, I'm going to take it out on the test ride now. After a lot of toing and froing and thoughts and measuring, I did decide to use the Triumph 900 Street Scrambler out of the water-cooled model. The springs I bought for that. I bought them from Tech, brand new there was. Both bikes have 41mm forks, and I think the Triumph Scrambler forks are just a little bit longer, not enough to make any difference. What I did do, as you saw, the springs were longer by 20mm than the original Interceptor springs, and I did put them in for a start with original metal tubes, which was actually put in 20mm preload on them springs. And I've been out and tried it. It wasn't bad at all really, but it didn't give me no room for adjustment or anything. And I thought, well, if I put shorter tubes in, 20mm shorter, it's going to soften it up a bit more. So what I've actually done, I made new tubes, so the total overall length of the spring and tubes in the new I've put in is exactly the same measurements and lengths now as what the stock Interceptor spring would be, but then obviously you've got a different type spring in it. First impressions, well, on this smooth tarmac it don't feel no different at all to what the original Interceptor ones would, which is what I wanted actually. So like this tarmac here is pretty good, well, very good. I can see it's slight little bit of movement in the forks, but the road's smooth. That's the same as what I got with the original Interceptor springs. Now just picking up a little bit more speed. Yeah, it still feels nice and plush and comfortable. Yeah, the small bumps that's in the road, which I think would be similar to the UK,
or Germany or places like that's got better roads than we do, soaking them up lovely. If you look at my clocks, handlebars, nice and still. Look in the mirror, yep, not going up and down, so I'm getting a nice smooth ride. It'll tell when I get to some bumpier tarmac. Now, so really, fuck, these bars are getting. I was pleased with my new tyres here. Look at the wheel shape. Look at the bar shake I'm getting. Horrendous. Oh dear. Should be at the end of the week. Anyway, back to the springs. On smooth tarmac and small bumps, it feels the same as the stock spring, which is what I wanted. I didn't want a big improvement on rough roads and to make it too stiff on good going, obviously just defeating the object. So the spring's working very well at the moment. So I'll turn the camera off because this road's pretty good all the way through to Gloucester, my next village, and I'll turn off and I'll pick a road that's pretty bad and we'll see how it operates then. Right, this next bit of road I'm on hasn't got potholes, but it's got huge depressions in the road. This is what I'm on about, like the waves. You'll see the bike drop in and dip out again. Now, if you pick a bit of speed up, this was usually bottom out just here. You'll see as the bike approaches it. There we go. Yeah, lovely. Soaked it up nice, that. Right, I'm going to turn off here because the road gets a bit bumpy. This is how a lot of our roads are here, as you can see. Potholes everywhere. This is what I was on about, the standard suspension on, if I keep claiming UK roads. I don't know what they're like now, but they're obviously going to be better than this, I'd have thought. Would have been okay, but this was the problem I was having. The tarmac like this, it was bottoming out, even at slow speeds, and going a bit quicker was horrendous. Let's have a look. Now, if you look, I don't know if you can see the foot hooks, but obviously they're having to work hard. Yeah. Now, I've come down this road because I'm often down this road, and I do know it was bottoming out down there, but now it's actually soaking the bumps up quite a lot better than I thought it would do, to be honest. I knew it was going to be a better spring to put in, but didn't quite know the effect it would have, because this is nowhere near as heavy as Triumph Street Scrambler or the Triumph Bonneville T100. I think, yeah. Oops. 10 to 15 kilogram lighter, which makes a huge difference. Now we're on a bit of a smooth tarmac again. Right, back on one of our normal roads. This is what I mean, you moan about England, this is what the roads are like here. And this is why the Interceptor front springs aren't capable of coping with this. See how this works. Yeah, no problem whatsoever. What I do like is the movement I've got in the forks. That's the difference between the Interceptor springs and these Triumph springs. Anyway, so I feel very happy about it. Bike feels lovely. Suspension setup's working very, very well. And now it'd been very easy for me just to say, I seen some guy on YouTube who stuck a kit in, said it was just the job, just what you want to spend your money on, and I'd have been mighty disappointed that it didn't work correctly for me. And also this may have been €250 lighter, not him. So take note of what the video says, and I think I'm going to do a real in-depth video specifically on the Triumph Scrambler spring, because I know it fits now, I know the lengths, I know what the tubes need cutting down, so I'll go into all that for you, and how it works, and I'll do a sag test with the new springs in as well for you. It'll be a bit technical, so if you think it's going to be long and boring, find yourself something else to do while it's on. But if you're interested, it could save you a lot of money. It's like if you're around about 85 kilograms, a couple of kilograms either way, set a Triumph Street Scrambler fork springs from Tech, you could fit to the bike. Let's think they're about £55, something like that. I'm not quite up to date with the prices, but they won't be too far off that. Tech usually run good prices. You need oil. You could have preload adjusters, that's your choice. Best thing to do is put the springs and the oil in first, see what you think to the ride. If it's a little bit too soft, if you're a bit heavier, say you're about the 100 kilogram mark, there's enough adjustment on the spring on this because of the huge gaps. Preload adjuster will work that out. So 58, so if I said 60 quid, 60, I don't know, about £70 would sort your suspension out better than you're spending, I don't know the prices, so I'm guessing £230, £240 for a YSS kit or something very, very, very similar. Oh mate, doesn't look very happy with me, does he? In your bike if you don't need to. So, hope this was useful to you. Probably interesting for you. Hope so. So, please subscribe if you wish. It is free. Helps me keep this channel going. Because one of the things is, every time I ride the bike, especially if I do long ride outs or long tests, it's costing me to put fuel in the tank. And you think over a year how much fuel I must get through, it's horrendous. So it does just help do that. I'm not after making money myself, never probably will, but I'd like to at least try and cover the costs if possible. So please subscribe if you can, a big thumbs up, any comments leave them down below, you know we always answer all the questions, and I'll see you in the next video because I've got plenty coming on. Cheers.